Hey guys, Alex from FastFitnessTips here. How are you doing today? We're going to have a little bit of fun and look at cycling budgets, like how to plan and how to prioritize your training across the year. It is a really confusing topic. A lot of people ask me like, is this product worth it? Is product X, product Y worth it? We're going to make a calculator to let you decide whether this is worth it for you, like a calculator personalized to your budget, a budget planner for the whole season. Not just for equipment, but for training, for weight, for nutrition. How can we do that? Well, look, before we get into it, let's be honest that there's so many cycling products coming out every year. Like, check out Quickstarter. That's a good site there we could just invent. Kickstarter. How many projects are actually funding with cycling in the title right now? Well, just a quick search, 554 projects right now are trending with cycling in their title, like Lumos Ultra helmet, smart helmet. They're producing loads of really nice smart helmets. But is this worth it for you? What is the product price? What is the evaluation of that product? Like, I'm probably as guilty as you when I see like a flashy, nice product like, ooh, OSPW, ooh, new carbon chain rings. Yeah, your brain like says, buy. Where's that buy button? I want to buy it. But you've got to put it in the context of what your budget is, what the gains are. So have a think, what are the criteria that mean a product is worth it for you? I've mentioned OSPW there. Let's go to our friends, or not, at Ceramic Speed. And did you notice recently they've launched something new? They've launched a gravel and off-road OSPW, the so-called OSPW X. So here's the question, how would we decide whether that OSPW X is worth buying? Well, a few headlines. Do you remember when we did our video on the Ceramic Speed? We did Ceramic Speed bottom bracket. We did the Ceramic Speed OSPW, you know, the balance of weight versus aero versus drivetrain efficiency. You've got to balance those three. A small loss in aero can be significant when the gains in drivetrain efficiency, the gains are very modest. You know, they claim up to minimal 2.4 watts, but in reality, it may be much less than that. Anyway, coming on to the OSPW X, this is an interesting product because it's actually designed for an off-road dirty environment where there's going to be gravel, water, mud, and we already know the losses from all those contaminations are really high. In fact, Jason Smith tested all those contaminations. There's actually a piece here on Cycling Tips who measured, quoting Jason Smith, how much do these dirty contaminants actually cost you? And the headlines are this: if you're riding in good conditions but fine gravel, like fine contamination, it will cost you typically around 5 watts in your drivetrain. If you're riding in wet conditions, it will cost you around 7 watts. And if you're cycling in light mud conditions, lightly dry, like a bright sunny day where the mud dries, not like a crazy contamination here, it will cost you about 12 watts. In fact, I recently ran into a bit of an argument with Adam in Zero Friction Cycling. I said that the losses from a seized chain were huge, like in the hundreds of watts if the chain is completely rusted and seized. And he said, no, it's less than 34 watts. It's less than 34 watts. You're completely wrong. So I said to Adam, okay, put that seized chain on that Tax Neo and let's see how much watts that steals. It's going to be a lot more than 34 watts, I can tell you. Anyway, look, back to this story. So what I'm telling you today is that when you're looking at a product like OSPW, don't just like, oh, it's shiny, buy it. Start to evaluate. Is there data out there of actual testing? In fact, that's what Ben Powell said to me regarding the last videos we put out on Ceramic Speed. Is there actual testing data? So Ceramic Speed, is there actual testing data on the OSPW X in realistic conditions? And what did you find? Well, it turns out I can't find any actual testing from the Ceramic Speed X. They want me to test their products, otherwise I can't talk about it, but they haven't tested their own products. But to be fair, I would criticize them because I would say the in-house test is not as good as an independent test. So when you got the product, ask if there's testing data. Is it reliable? And is the magnitude of the gains worth it for you? Now, when you say, is it worth it for you, you've got to start thinking about your budget. Your budget for the year presumably isn't just for the OSPW, or if I want a brand new set of carbon bars, my budget for the year is not just for the carbon bars. Even if I want a brand new bike, let's say the news of the Trek Madone SLR, the high-end model with the new 800 series carbon is shaving off from the frame set at least 80 grams, and they're saying from the entire bike, might save 400 grams compared to last year's also awesome model. But is that bike worth $12,500? Well, my budget for the whole year, okay, it's not $12,000, but if I think about my budget for the whole year, it's not just on the bike, is it? The gains that I will get over the whole year are not purely equipment gains. Yeah, that's a big part of my budget. But another part of my budget is nutrition, looking after weight, looking after my training, looking after my clothing, helmet, overshoes, shoes. Those, in terms of aero gains, are larger, much larger than the drag that you get in relation to a bike, or even more, the differential from one season's bike to another. So here's where the calculator comes in. What the calculator will do is add all those gains, relatively speaking, into a spreadsheet. It's here. And then you can say, okay, well, my budget for the year, for the forthcoming year, for the forthcoming season is, let's say, $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000. I don't know what your budget is. You can tell the calculator that, yeah? And then you can also say in terms of time commitment, because, the budget commitment's at one side, but the time commitment's another. You might say in terms of time, I want to give, X hours to training. That's key, because we all know that most of the gains throughout the year actually come from training, health, endurance, power curve, FTP, those kind of gains, basically what you're doing on the bike. So I haven't left those out. So let's have a look at this in terms of headlines. What are the big headlines in terms of what you plan for in the season? So look here, you've got training, which is basically training and coaching budget, fitness, yeah, they're all kind of one, plus software, what you're using to enhance your metrics over the year. That's very important. And also I'll include in that a power meter budget. It's not essential. You could put heart rate monitor in there. That would be fine. So those kind of fitness goals plus the tech goals I'll put in there as a number one headline. Now you can either say, oh, I don't need to work on those this year because I already attended to all those. Okay, unselect that then. That's fine. So let's say my budget for the next year is $2,000. Okay. And you can change that budget, by the way, per week, per month, per year, okay? And we'll do time budget in a minute, but let's say that in hours per week, I've got 6 hours, in general, to dedicate to cycling per week. So I've got a budget of 2,000, but I'm saying, actually, my training, coaching, fitness, they're all taken care of. No, miraculously, they're not, but I'm just saying, I'm not going to include that in the budget. Okay, what else are we talking about? So then you've got body position, like working on your fit on the bike. That's key, isn't it? And two things that are very difficult to add up, in terms of numerical addition, but I'm going to add them here for sake of completeness: comfort and safety on the bike. Okay, let's put those on. Then we've got clothing and helmet drag, a big factor. Equipment aerodynamics, that's all the bike frame, everything on the bike and wheels. Then we've got nutrition, weight and diet. Again, we could easily forget about that. But if we forgot about that factor, like for me, for example, lockdown weight has increased by about 5 kgs. I'm struggling to get that back off. I know I'll do it because I'll get back into my training and it will already have lost another 2 kgs. But I'm just saying we can't not attend to that, can we? So put that in there as a factor in your season planning. Weight of the equipment, like separate to aero. Drivetrain friction, which is important. Yeah, we'll come back to that for the OSPW X. Tires, rolling resistance, and then cleaning and maintenance. So in terms of drivetrain, you've actually got 3 factors. The drivetrain itself has an aerodynamic cost. I'm talking about the entire unit. the chain rings, the pedals, I'm talking about the rear derailleur, I'm talking about the cassette, the chain. Obviously it has a cost. We can add those up. It's hard to do it, but we can add those up. But if it gets dirty, it has a contamination cost, and it also has a lossy friction cost as well. So we can add those factors separately. Now, how does this work behind the scenes? Well, essentially, I'm adding in an actual watt saving or loss, if you like, for each of these factors. And let's just take an example. So let's take the rear derailleur friction. So there it is in the back sheet calculator. So we're giving it a number, 2.1 watts of friction, okay, which is not unreasonable. 2.1 watts of friction for the rear derailleur. So where does it appear in the sheet? Well, I've highlighted it in red here. Rear derailleur friction here accounts for a small percentage of our total budget. So let's start with a full budget, which includes training and fitness. I'm going to say out of $2,000, you can see it here, how is it allocated? Well, in terms of friction and drivetrain, then $57 is allocated to friction and drivetrain. Why 57? Because if you add up all the gains and losses in friction compared to all the aero, the weight, the equipment, everything else, and training gains, then the percentage times by 2,000 gets you to 57. Do you understand? Okay, cool. So of that drivetrain friction, one element is the rear derailleur. So if we said OSPW is going to be my upgrade, the OSPW X, yeah, I really want that. Ask yourself, what's the cost? So the cost of that new OSPW is $480 for the OSPW by Ceramic Speed X, and really kindly they've said you can buy a pimped up version with the coated ceramic bearings for only $560. Okay, cool, Jason Smith and Ceramic Speed. I'll have that. Yes, Ben Powell, I'll have that. So I just need to work out what my overall budget would have to be in order for my drivetrain rear derailleur budget to come up to $560. Because right now my budget for the rear derailleur friction is at $9.9. Okay, so I'm gonna increase my budget for the year. I only said I had $2,000 to spend on everything. I'm going to say I've got $10,000 to spend. That should cover it, right? Well, $10,000 to spend over the whole year when we allocate to everything in proportion to their gains means that for training, fitness, coaching and software, I actually spend $3,000 of that budget because that swallows 34%, nearly 35%, because it accounts for 35% of the gains over the whole year. Okay, fine. But I've still got a big chunk left. So how much have I got for my rear derailleur OSPW? Oh shit, I've only got $49. All right, let's go crazy. I'm going into like pro team ranks now. And I'm going to say my budget for the year is $33,333 for everything. All right, now what have we got for my OSPW? Right, we've got $165 to spend on the OSPW now. All right, let's say that my team's taking care of training, fitness, and everything else. Uncheck that box. So now I've got $239 to spend on my OSPW, which I'm still halfway short. So you can see here that I'd have to spend, let's call it $66,666 a year, not including training. And then my budget for the OSPW is getting up there to about $500. So do you see the point, guys? When we're budgeting, we really have to take into context the bigger picture. So what about if you wanted a whole new bike entirely? Let's say I've got a budget of $10,000 and I want a whole new bike because I really fancy that new Trek Madone, or even better, the Emonda. I love the Emonda SLR9. I think that looks awesome in matte grey. I'd love that bike for $10,000. So if I had $10,000 to spend and I wanted to budget on a new bike, how much would I recommend goes on the actual bike? Well, if you add it up, it's about a quarter of the budget, roughly, could go on a bike. Now, you could stretch it because you could say the bike will last for a long time. I'm not just budgeting annually. Let's say I kept the bike for 4 years and didn't make a change. Then 4 years of bike budget would be $10,000. That would be reasonable then. But remember that your budget for the year is also going on all these other items. So that's why the bike budget per year is around a quarter. Alright guys, boom, that was my quick run through of cycling budget, how to plan your season and how to mix and match all of the things that you need to attend to. Yeah, in terms of the Ceramic Speed or any other boutique purchase, once you put that in the context of your budget, you'll probably find that your overall budget doesn't match the gains that you're going to get from that item. Okay, you're going to tell me that item could last a long time and I might resell it on eBay in a few years' time. Okay, you can do that calculation. But I'm just giving you a heads up today of how to put your gains and losses into a budgetary ballpark. Alright guys, I've got one more thing for you, which is that we're launching and merging very soon with our colleagues and friends at cyclingapps.net. We're going to launch 2 sites. This is the first one. It's going to be Fastfitness.tips. You know that site. We've been running a holding page for 4 years. So we're going to actually launch a new site. You can preview it today on cyclingapps.net. So you're going to be able to look at all of our training plans. They're going to be searchable, like searchable by name, by sorting, and the quick link direct to those plans on Training Peaks. You've got all our YouTube videos sortable. You're going to have the cycling apps collection, which is an absolutely awesome collection of app-based and computer-based calculators. And in addition to that, we've got a whole new coaching package coming soon. It will be out next week. And we've got social media, including a constant stream of cycling news. You can just put this page on the background and it will constantly tell you the latest tweets in the area of cycling news and media, coaching and training. So that's it guys. Cyclingapps.net, Fastfitness.tips. We're merging those sites. There's lots more coming in the next few months. Thanks as always to be a supporter for our channel. Check out our Patreon channel. Check out our Strava club. Over 1,200 members on there right now. Alright, good luck for the next year. Hope you're coming out of lockdown. Stay safe guys and see you soon.